Bronco, and he probably is.
Harsh.
Yeah.
My team didn't look good last night.
Yeah.
We didn't look good. We took
I forget. You used to play for the Broncos. That was a long time ago. How quickly I forget.
Yeah.
But you'll remind us 7 times during this show that you played with John and you played for Mike.
I ain't gonna do it this time, Skip.
Not today? We're going to forget that?
I can assure you, if John and I were playing, that would have not happened last night.
I don't know. Maybe it would have.
We have a lot to get to.
Pretty good.
We'll probably talk about it later. Jam-packed show, guys. Did Antonio Brown play the Raiders to get out of Oakland? And does Dak Prescott deserve to be paid like a top-tier quarterback? Shannon, I'm talking to you. But first, we will start with the thrilling finish in the Texans-Saints game from last night. Both quarterbacks put on a show. Deshaun Watson had 4 total touchdowns and led an impressive 2-play, 75-yard touchdown drive to take the lead with only 37 seconds remaining. But that was all the time that Drew Brees needed. Brees quickly got the Saints down the field for Will Lutz to kick a game-winning 58-yard field goal. Brees ended the game with 370 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. So, Shannon, what is your biggest takeaway from that game?
Skip, I'm going to start with the Texans. Even though it was a great win by the Saints, they did an unbelievable job. We know what Drew Brees represents. There's a reason he's the all-time leader in passing yards, and before the year's ends, he's going to be the all-time leader in passing touchdowns and completion percentage.
Unless Tom Brady is, but that's all.
First of all, Tom Brady is behind Drew. I think Drew's going to. But that's neither here nor there. You had to get Tom here. We're going to talk about Tom.
He'll have his time.
Yeah, later time. Skip, in order for the Texans to be who they think they can and who they want to be, they got to protect Deshaun Watson. Skip, he got sacked again 6 times last night. Another 11 hits. Now, he was the only quarterback that got sacked more than 60 times last season. And supposedly, allegedly, they was trying to secure the offensive line. They go out and trade a first-round pick in the 2020 draft for Laramie Tunsil, and they made some acquisitions. But, Skip, this is not good enough. He's unbelievable. He made some throws last night under duress, Skip.
Yep.
He's a special talent. But I'm afraid his career is not going to be as long and as productive as it should be because you can only get, a quarterback, they say running back only has so many hits in his body. Trust me, a quarterback is only going to be able to go to the ground so many times with a 280 or 300-pound man falling on top of him.
Yep.
Skip, they got to do a better job. I mean, he had the weapons that he has, DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, now Kenny Stills made a big-time catch to put him, give him the lead late in the ball game. But he just took far too many hits. And when you're playing a team like New Orleans, especially in that building, that's a different building to play in than most venues on the road. You had an opportunity, and you're going up and down the field. Skip, they found a rhythm, they're going up and down the field. And he makes the one mistake, and it gives New Orleans a sense of, a new sense of urgency, a life. And they catch fire, and they couldn't stop him. They did a great job of holding on to a field goal. But 43 seconds with Drew Brees is an awful lot of time, especially when he has one timeout. With the weapons that he has, Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn Jr., he got hurt. He was nicked a lot last year, Skip, and he missed a lot of the season. But he's the guy that can take the top off the coverage and let Michael Thomas, who catches everything, work everything shallow in the middle of the field. But the Houston Texans, Skip, they got the best quarterback because there's no Andrew Luck now. And now look what he's going to face. He's going to face a backup in Minshew in Jacksonville. Yep. He's got Jacoby Brissett in Indy, and he got Marcus Mariota at the Titans. They should win this division, but their quarterbacks take far too much punishment for this to be for them to go where they need to go long term. I thought they played well. One more thing, Skip. The Texans didn't re-sign Jadeveon Clowney because I believe they're going to have to offer Deshaun Watson in excess of $150 million in a contract extension, and it's probably going to start next year. But I know a guy that did miss Jadeveon Clowney, and that was J.J. Watt. The first time that he's played a ball game without a tackle or hit.
Wait, did he play last night?
It's interesting.
You've loved him before, and I've said there was a time 2-3 years ago you thought he was the best player in the NFL.
And he was.
And he wasn't.
He was.
Because you just don't see him enough. It's kind of the Aaron Donald
But here's the thing.
And he was out there? No, he was 0, 0, 0, 0. All zeros.
But you know what happens, though, Skip? You start having back surgery, you start having knee surgeries. You're not the same player that you once were.
Start making too many internet videos of you jumping and pushing and pulling cars. And
1,000-pound tires flipping them.
All right, and maybe your back goes because you're making internet videos, not because you're playing football.
Well, I think he trained smart. I think he trained smarter now.
I hope so. You finished?
Yep, finished.
Thank you. My turn. My biggest takeaway was in the very end of what was one of the wildest Monday night games we've ever seen, and it was a great way to kick off Monday Night Football this year.
For sure.
Drew Brees and then Will Lutz saved the National Football League from yet another refereeing nightmare in New Orleans because it had nightmare written all over it because the NFL outrun after the game acknowledged that at the end of the first half, the refs cost New Orleans 15 crucial seconds. They just misplayed the clock, mishandled.
What is it about New Orleans?
I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
Something.
And that forced Will Lutz to try a field goal from 56 yards that he missed. Obviously, if you give Drew Brees, we saw what he did at the end of the game. If you give him 15 more seconds, I don't know, maybe he scores a touchdown. I don't know what could happen, or maybe it's a chip shot field goal.
He's going to get closer to what he was.
You would certainly think that. And then at the very end of the game, after, to your point, Deshaun Watson made two of the clutchest throws you will ever see. And that was 38 yards to DeAndre Hopkins. And I don't even know, he pulled it off against double coverage. You want to talk about a rail shot over, it was just such a great throw, improbably against all odds. And it was a great catch by, listen, that guy,
he's phenomenal.
He is phenomenal. And then, as you point out, the 37-yarder to Kenny Stills that they just acquired. And Deshaun took a shot. They were blitzing him, and he took a blindside blitz from Von Bell right in the back and got rid of that ball. But those are two of the best clutch throws, like bang, bang, to just go the length of the field. It took my breath away, and I'm a big Deshaun fan, as you know, so I'm rooting for him. And then what happens right on schedule? Fairbairn, the kicker, misses the extra point. But a kid for New Orleans who, I don't know, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I don't know, but he falls across Fairbairn's foot, and he gets called for roughing the kicker. Roughing the kicker. And I was stunned because, I got to tell you, I would not have thrown that flag. I thought that was no more than incidental contact exaggerated by the kicker. And it was excusable incidental contact that should not have been flagged because it's going to change. It's going to win or lose the game at that point.
The Cowboy looked like a kicker. The kicker looked like a cowboy in the Western the way they shot him. Look how he fall on the ground like, oh, they got me.
Oh, I thought
it's so dramatic.
No.
So did I.
Cowboy.
Real cowboy in the Western.
He goes down hard, though.
I'm not throwing that flag, and I think a whole lot of Saints fans, many of whom came in referees' jerseys, just to protest what happened last year, they probably thought the same thing that I was thinking, like, why did you throw that? And obviously they didn't throw the flag on Nickel Roby-Coleman last year in the NFC Championship game on Tommy Lee, Lewis? Yeah, And so that was the controversy. It looked like it had reared its ugly head at that point. And then, of course, here came Drew Brees, and there went Romeo Crennel. And I love Romeo, another chip off the Belichick block, though those chips don't always do very well, do they?
Yeah, but the block got Brady up there. Yeah. They just got chips.
He's got that. That is correct. Well said. I agree. So here came Romeo's dreaded prevent defense. And the reason I think he fell back into the prevent, and you mentioned Ted Ginn Jr., but on the previous New Orleans series, they'd been backed up 3rd and 2 at their 15. If we could see this play, this is look like the first backbreaker for the Texans. Drew Brees is backed up, and he throws first the audibles, and then he just lets it fly for Ted Ginn because they were playing coverage. Yeah. Everybody was up playing man at the ball because it's 3rd and 2. Right. And so because of that play that set up what looked like was going to be the winning field goal, and then Deshaun happened, boom, boom. But because of that, Romeo says, it's Drew Brees, and he does have a lot of deep speed. Let's play prevent. And what does Drew do? He goes boom, boom, boom. And all he needed was a 12 and a 15 and a 12. Right. And all of a sudden, Will Lutz, who just got his money in the offseason, and he's a fine young kicker who seems like he's got his head screwed on straight.
Skip, I don't know if anybody thought, with the exception of, because in warm-ups, the kicker goes out and the special teams coach is watching him, and he'll go tell the head coach, He's good from about 55 in this direction. He's a good from about 57, 58 in that direction. Now, prior to last night, I didn't know he had that kind of leg.
I did. No, he's got a big leg.
That would have been Skip. That would have been good from about 63, 64.
He's got a Justin Tucker kind of leg.
And I think what's also, this was indoors, Skip, but I think something that's going unnoticed is that you're no longer allowed to line up head up of the center. So now guys are driving the ball because there is not that guy right there to be able to get that immediate pressure. If you look the way he kicked that ball didn't have a whole lot of trajectory. He knows he can drive it now. But Drew, with Drew, Skip, I don't really know because we're looking at it like, okay, Romeo is saying, okay, I went with pressure and you see what he got me. They go down the field in about a minute and a half.
He's got 3 deep safeties like 40 yards off the ball.
Right.
And it's like the old Aaron Rodgers play against Dallas in the 2016 playoff game where my guys are just playing prevent and it's 3rd and forever and he throws it to Jared Cook on that deep cross.
Yeah, but Skip, if I'm Romeo, I'm going to play the odds. Do I trust Drew Brees or do I trust their field goal kicker from this distance? Because you know if you let Drew Brees, you give him man coverage. He's going to find a guy and he's going to get the ball down there and he's probably going to get a touchdown or it's going to be a chip shot field goal. To say that the guy's going to have to, on opening Monday, he's going to have to kick 58 yards in a walk-off to beat me.
All right. No, I got it. But this is the difference between playing to win at New Orleans against Drew Brees or playing not to lose. And Romeo played not to lose. He's sort of playing the percentages. Like, well, maybe Drew will miss one of the passes. And maybe Lutz can't